Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Genuine Podcast. I know it's been quite some time since I filmed an episode, but I'm very happy to be back and I'm excited for this episode because we are going to talk about our spring semester reflection. And before I get into that, I just wanted to talk just a little bit where I'm at right now, though. So, last week I finished school, or I finished my spring semester. So, last Friday was my last final. And, well, actually, by the time you see this, it might be like 2 Fridays ago. So this has been fully my first week of no school. So I low key have been slightly a little bit sad. I think and it's because I just don't have a routine necessarily right now. And I think I do really well when I have a routine. So it was cool for the first couple days because I was literally a zombie because I was going to bed at midnight or like 1 or like 2 a.m. during finals week for almost a whole week. And I was extremely tired, especially my last day of my final. And it just felt good like the next 2 days because it was also like my birthday that week and I was just sleeping in and I was just kind of doing whatever I wanted. And then during the week, I was just like, oh my God, I don't have a routine. What do I do? I just kind of didn't feel like myself. But I'll get more into that into the podcast though. But I do have Jerry here with me. Jerry, how are you?
Yo, yo, just chilling, bro.
Just chilling. So
Yep,
let's get into our report card. So you could go ahead and do your report card first.
sounds good. So, mentally, I'd have to give myself, um, I've been feeling really good lately. So I would have said an A, but I just feel like I have some things to sort out. So I'm gonna give myself a B, or maybe a B plus. And then for physically, I'm gonna give myself an A. I'm very happy with where I'm at right now. Trying to get lean and stuff, and it's been going pretty good. So very happy about that. And yeah, that's about it. What about you, Bianca?
That sounds like a good report card to me. But for me though, I think mentally I'll give myself maybe like mm, maybe like a B minus just because like I talked about a little bit earlier, I was sad for a little bit and then I was just kind of like, oh my God, what do I do now? And I think I was just like overwhelmed with the fact that there's so much that I could do now. And I was feeling like a little bit, I don't know if it was just because I was tired or was I just genuinely being lazy that I just didn't want to do anything. So, um, I'm doing better now though. So that's why I would put myself at a B minus because I feel a little bit more like myself at the moment. Physically, I'm still giving myself a C. I mean, there's just a lot of things I've been having to do since my first week of not being in school. My room might look a little bit different, and it is because I'm doing a whole makeover room transformation, and that was a gift from my parents for my birthday. I got a totally new bed, new mattress, sheets, bedding, bed frame. I'm gonna paint my room. This chair will probably be gone probably the next time that you'll see this podcast, which kind of makes me sad because this feels kind of iconic to me a little bit. In my podcast and the setting of where I am, it's not gonna look like this anymore. So this is probably the last time that you're gonna see this kind of layout. And I know there's a lamp next to me if you do watch it. Normally this lamp is not here. And yeah, just a lot of things. I'll probably for sure probably hopefully be back into the gym fully consistently starting in June because there's still a lot of things I got to do with my room. And earlier today I was gardening like a bunch, like I mean a bunch, and I'm still not done. So tomorrow hopefully I will finish a much of my gardening. So it's just like a lot of deep cleaning that's going on in my house and a lot of new decor and just like new, just a bunch of new that's going on in my house. And I love it, but of course it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for sure, but it'll be worth it in the end though.
Yeah, dude. Well, shout out the room update and good luck with locking in, bro, on the fitness. You know, you got to get on that.
I
So
know.
starting June.
Yes, starting June for sure.
That's right.
But now we will get into the podcast now. So, like I said, this is going to be a spring summer reflection. So, talking about how was our spring semester. So, for our first question, what's one word that you would use to describe your spring semester and why?
Okay. You want me to go first?
You could go first.
Cool, cool. You know what? I couldn't think of a cool, exciting word. I would just say it was very interesting. That's the word I would use. You know, it wasn't a boring class that I took. I only took one class, by the way, and so it was pretty chill. Mostly, it was a speech class, so there was a lot of prepping and stuff for speeches, memorizing. A lot of them I actually did wing it, and that was cool. But yeah, I talked to a lot of, I met a lot of cool people in there. Had a lot of like great, I guess, social interactions, you know. And yeah, it was pretty fun. Sometimes it could be a little stressful, just I guess given the nature of the class. But besides that, yeah, it was just an interesting semester, more exciting than it typically would be. But it was pretty chill. I don't know, just a mixed bag. So yeah, that was my semester. What about you?
Man, the words that I would use for my semester, I guess I have two that I'm kind of debating on using because one I would say is hectic, but also another one I would just use was busy. And I would use those words just because this was my first semester at a new college. So I was a transfer student from a JC now to a Cal State. And it was a very different experience that I've had compared to my JC and now where I am. And yeah, it was hard to try and balance school, work. I didn't really have too much of a social life, but also like I did podcasting and I also do my hula classes and Bible studies. So there were so many things that I was juggling and there's just like no time to really just breathe. It was just like one thing after another and another and another. So I had to be very diligent with my time. Like time management was being put to the test during the semester. So that is how I would describe my semester.
Okay, so busy and hectic. All right. Um, yeah, damn, that's rough. But it's over, so that's good.
Yeah, it's over now. But I guess leading on into our next question, what was the biggest lesson that you learned this semester?
For me, it's a very simple. I really didn't. I don't feel like I learned a lesson this semester. If anything, it maybe reinforced some lessons I had learned in prior semesters or just in, I guess, in life. But yeah, I really can't point to a specific lesson I learned, and I will not dive deeper into this. So, what about you, Bianca? Did you learn anything?
For me personally, I learned how to just study better, which sounds a little bit odd because I am now, I guess, in my junior year or what's considered my junior year of college, but I I just realized, okay, before I transferred from my JC to my Cal State, I took like 6 months off of school. I don't want to go too much into that why I did that. I mean, it wasn't something that was intentional. It was something very unintentional, but I just felt so rusty going into school and getting back into studying and everything. And it just felt like I forgot within those 6 months, like how I normally studied and whatnot. But I just really realized what worked best for me for studying. Um, I just realized like I have to really read my notes on like one Google Doc. And I'm not sure if that's something that I really did a lot before. I think I would just go through like my PowerPoints and look at them. But I know there's different ways of studying, and it works better for certain people if they do like auditory, or if they just like rewrite their notes, or if they simply just like read their notes and stuff like that. And that was a big lesson that I learned, was just figuring out how to study better. And also going back to the time management thing, I was juggling so many things. I had a lot of commitments. Honestly, I don't want to say I had too many commitments, because those were all things that I just like was not willing to give up. But yeah, definitely time management was a big thing, because there were some times where I'm like, oh, I just like I could push this off a little bit later, but I realized no, like there's some things that just have to be my routine, that where I just had to stay disciplined. So yeah, I would say those are my biggest lessons I learned this semester.
Damn, dude. Yeah, time management's a big one. That's one like I still don't think I have down, but you know what? We could work towards it. So, ka-chow.
Yeah, we can always work towards it. But how did you balance your academics, your social life, and self care this semester?
So for me, it was kind of easy just because like I took one class, I didn't have that many responsibilities, or I guess like what did you call them? Like basically like different things I had to do. I didn't
Commitments.
have too many commitments. That's the one. That's the word. So yeah, luckily I didn't have a lot of that. So honestly, it wasn't that hard to manage. I do remember sometimes having to tell my friends, "Hey, I'm trying to lock in right now, bro. Don't I can't hang out today." So I would have to do that every now and then, but I'd still hang out, and I would always find time. So yeah, I don't think it was that bad for me, thankfully. So I was able to manage this quite well. What about you?
Um, I guess like going back to the time management thing, this was probably the hardest semester that I have ever experienced. And now, like thinking about it out loud, I know why. Because at my JC, I was not a hula dancer. So that was like one thing, or one commitment that I didn't have. And also, I think during that time, I had just like started getting into Bible studies too. So I hadn't been doing it for a while, I think, if I'm trying to remember right. I think only like one semester at my JC. Um, that's when like I was still doing Bible studies and whatnot. So yeah, I just have more commitments now, and I was not able to, unfortunately, take care of or do the self care part. Like, that was what I tend to, I guess, put on the back burner a lot during the semester. And I am really feeling the consequences of that. Right now, I think is the heaviest I have ever been, and also the most body fat that I have right now. I'm not 100% sure like what it is. I honestly don't know my weight right now, but if I had to guess right now, I probably weigh anywhere from like 145, maybe even close to 150. I honestly don't think I'm 150. I think I'm more like 145, but that's just like a rough estimate. I'm a lot weaker. I've lost a lot of strength, and of course, I am not as toned as I was before the semester started. So, um, yeah, I guess my answer is that I couldn't really balance everything. It was really hard. There were times where I had to, like I said, maybe work out once or like twice a week, or maybe there's a time where I wasn't going to my Bible study. There was like a period where I missed, I think, like a whole month of Bible studies. And yeah, it was really hard. So I did my best. I did what I could. So Bible studies and my going to the gym were kind of the things that I tend to, not do the best at during the semester.
Damn, dude. Well, first I just want to say it's cool that you could go out and say, do the weight reveal, or admit to, oh, maybe I've put on some weight, or I'm not as strong as I used to be. So that's cool. But yeah, self care, definitely important, and at least now you have the time to kind of focus on that more now.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely learned, I guess now, a better routine for myself of what I could do next time. Because I guess I was still trying to figure out a routine, going to a new school and everything, and just figuring out like where everything is. And I realized like when I'm at school, like that's when I just need to do homework, because when I came home, I tend to not get as much done as if I were just going and doing the work at my school. So I realized if I'm home, that's when I should go to the gym and just only, or I guess not only, but if I don't have really any homework to do, or if I get like more done at school, then, I could just solely just focus on working out when I'm at home.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, that's cool. Hopefully that routine helps you out next semester.
Yeah, I think it will. And rolling into our next question, what's something you're proud of accomplishing during the spring semester?
Ooh, I got one. So it was mainly, I guess, in my class, I was speech. It was a speech actually, where I really killed it. Every now and then, I don't know why. I always remember, like in high school, I had a one really good speech or two really good speeches, and it's just like the I guess the crowd response that gets me, and I love that feeling low key. So yeah, I had one really good speech, the one I actually put effort into. I rehearsed it a whole bunch and to like have it pay off. I guess was really cool. And I mean, there probably should be a different thing I accomplished. I guess maybe the fact that I um, graduated from my what do you call it, a JC, and I'm not transferring. I guess I should be proud of that, but I'm more proud of the cool speech I gave. So yeah, that's that's my answer. What are you proud of?
Before I tell mine, what was that great speech about?
It was okay, so the it's not like I had a topic. It was like we were running, it's called a campaign speech, and we're just running to be like candidates, to be voted student union president. And then we had to give our background, our what the things we would do, and then like why you should vote for me, that kind of thing.
Okay, that's pretty good. And you said that that was a speech that you rehearsed the most on, right?
Yeah, I rehearsed it back. It was like 2 days of just like reading it back, reading it over, just rehearsing it over and over. And then yeah, and then when I actually gave the speech, it just flowed. It just came out of me. And that was cool. It was really cool.
That's cool. Did you, or I guess, like, do you wish that you prepared more for your other speeches that you did? Because earlier you did say that you would just kind of go off the dome and just say your speeches.
Oh yeah. No, the earlier ones in the semester, I still killed it. Um, and then yeah, so I would still do pretty good. I mean, there's like very little preparation, but for the most part, I would just kind of wing it. Yeah. And then I think in the final actual speech of the class, they actually bit me in the butt because I went in there and I was not prepared and no, whatever. So, yeah, but sometimes winging it just works for me.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, because I know for like speech classes, those are like quote unquote like your exams, like when you do your speeches.
Yeah,
And of
yeah.
course, like for other classes, you take your exam and you have it on like a piece of paper, right? So you don't know your score until like a few days later. But of course, like after your speech, like you said, like you have an audience that is basically telling you like if you did good or if you didn't do good.
Um, yeah, I think there's some of that. But then there's also maybe I mean the professor would give feedback and then he'd give us a score. So I mean it still kind of is like that, but yeah, I guess that initial audience response, if they're like, "Oh, I really liked your speech, you killed it," like that's always good as well, and that kind of tells you, "Oh, you probably did pretty good."
Yeah, I know what you mean because okay, now I'm like slightly going off topic, but when
It's
I
all good.
when I did my speech class though, like you said, like I had one really really good speech that a lot of my classmates told me like I did really good, and I just felt like I don't even know what happened. But like you said, it was something that I rehearsed a lot, and it was my final speech that I did, and it was a speech about I guess it was like a persuasive speech. You had to persuade everybody to do something, and in my speech I was persuading everybody to just do more random acts of kindness. And I remember I made everybody stand up, I made everybody talk to each other and give someone a compliment. And yeah, and I had like a personal story behind when I was talking, and I was the first one to go up too. So I was really, really, really nervous. So I was like, fuck no, like I can't be the first one. But a lot of my classmates told me that I do really well, and also my professor as well. So I think it's just like how you said that, like that right away, I don't know, type of validation that you get. Like you know, you
Mhm.
already get feedback like right after your exam or your speech.
Yeah, your speech. Yeah, no, that's fire, dude. I hope you also enjoyed that feeling. It's really cool. I don't know if it's just me, but
No,
yeah,
no. It is really cool because it's so nerve wracking to be up there. And of course, I think maybe just hearing it from your peers makes you feel more, or I guess like the validation is better because, of course, like that's
yeah,
what your professors already do. But of course, you don't really hear validation like from your peers because that's not really a thing that happens, you know?
amen. Fully agree.
Fully agree. Okay,
Yep.
but I guess going on to mine though, my answer, what's something that I'm proud of accomplishing during the spring semester? Honestly, it's just even getting through the spring semester because it felt so long. It felt really long. I don't know why. I think it's again just because like I was getting in the groove of getting back into school and everything, and just getting back into the mindset and the routine and figuring out a good routine for me. But I did well in pretty much all my classes, and I'm very proud of myself because I definitely put in the work for it. And, you know, with just the best that I could do with starting at a new school and everything. And yeah, and just taking off a lot of time prior to transferring.
There you go. You pushed through it and you made it. Go, dude.
Yep, I made it.
Yeah.
But for our next question, did anything not go the way you expected this semester? What would you do differently next time?
Um, I really, I don't think so. I guess like the my cop out answer would be that final speech I brought up briefly, and it wasn't even that bad. I just honestly wanted to get the day over with, and so yeah, I guess it would be that. So maybe don't wing it next time. Practice a bit more, or be more involved in the project. But besides that, I really don't think I have an answer for that. Do you have an answer?
I think honestly mine might be kind of the same answer because at the beginning of the semester, there was one class in particular that I was just like, well, it's the first exam, you know? Like it's okay if I don't do the best. And I did kind of wing it, and I unfortunately paid the consequences of it, and I didn't do well. So then it's like, oh snap, you know? Like now my grades literally dropped so tremendously, and now you're kind of like in a state of emergency of okay, now I have to do better on the next one. And then the next one I did a little bit better, but it still wasn't a good score. So I was like, oh no, like I need to snap out of it and I really need to get on it. So my last two exams, like I was busting like my butt off to get a good grade. So yeah, I guess like don't be so laxed in the beginning. Like, you know, I really want to push myself to try super hard on every exam and not just kind of, I guess, give up on the first exam. But that was only for one class that I did, but I still wish like I didn't do that. I wish I still didn't do that. And also going back to what I mentioned earlier, the health thing, like the self-care, that's something that I didn't expect to decline as drastically as it did. So, yeah, what do I do differently next time? how I said mentioned earlier, like whenever I'm in my hometown, like that's my time for me to go work out. So basically after school is when I want to go work out, cuz at first I was prioritizing it after like I got out of class, but then I would be tired and then it's just like a long drive home. So I also realized that how much driving for a really long time just makes me so sleepy. So that was something that I didn't expect to happen either this semester, of just how tired I was when I would come home from school. So, yeah, I guess also what I would do differently is well, I guess I mentioned these two things earlier was the studying. Now I have a new way of studying and how to prepare. And also, I think just like the layout of my room is going to help me a lot more with this whole room transformation, because I don't have a desk in my room. So I would always do homework on my bed, and that caused like a giant dip to happen in my bed. So I literally was like breaking my back. My back is just so messed up right now, and that also affected how I was sleeping for a bit. And there's just, there's things that were just kind of, what is the word? Like they're just like rolling over into like other problems and like other aspects of my life. So, yeah, definitely I guess the biggest thing is the self-care is what I'm going to do better next time on.
My condolences to your back.
Yeah, rip my back, but yeah, it's getting better. I have a new bed and everything. So I laid on it before this call, and I literally felt my back crack because it's a firmer bed that I have, and there's no dips obviously in the bed or anything, and it just feels, it's so nice, and it's bigger than my other bed. Because what I have right now is a full, and I think what I had before, if I'm not sure if it was a single or if it was a twin or what, but I was not able to like roll around in my bed. Like I would fall off my bed if I did.
Yikes. Very limited. Also, oh, what
No, 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 go.
was I gonna say about that? You had mentioned like your bed basically gave you like scoliosis or whatever. Like you were all hunched up.
Yeah.
Personally though, I wish I had a cool soft like I want like a really, what do they call it, like memory foam almost, like where it's like super, you just like dive, you just sink into your bed, because my bed's always been pretty firm. So I kind of wish I had that problem.
That's interesting. I mean, yeah, I think mine was just like way too soft, but also I had mine for I think almost, or I think like over like a decade. So, yeah, it was very much overdue, and my bed frame from when I was literally a child. A child, like there was moons and like stars, and it just looks so kiddish. So, I'm glad I have something that's more firm now.
I think it still had some years in it.
I don't know how long you're supposed to have your mattress, but I feel like over a decade, like that's when you should change it.
Nah.
Yes, but
Anywho,
anyways, so for our next question, what habits or routines helped you the most during this semester?
oh shoot. Habits are, I got it. I think just waking up early. I'm realizing that just getting up early, knocking out the gym, and then taking on the rest of the day is the best thing for me and what I should do, even though sometimes it can be hard to sleep early and then to sleep early to wake up early. But I think that's going to be the best thing for me. So I think that routine is something I need to, what do you call it? Like, do more, because I was doing it for a bit, and then obviously sometimes I want to sleep in, and then one sleep in turns into a few days or whatever. But yeah, I think that routine or habit is gonna be my way to victory. What about you, Bianca?
Yeah, definitely about what you just said right now, how if you're waking up at the same time, it's so easy to get thrown off just by like maybe like 3 days, cuz like you said, now it just starts turning into like weeks or even like months of not doing what you did before. But mine is kind of similar to yours. I mean, like the waking up thing, I always made sure that I set an alarm or maybe like two alarms. Like my second alarm is like I absolutely have to get up. And also, laying out my clothes the night before. I don't know if that sounds lame or not, but I always laid out my clothes the night before. I always packed my bag and everything for school the night before because I knew that I just didn't have a lot of time to get ready in the morning because I wanted to sleep as much as possible because my drive to school is kind of a bit of a drive. So I would wake up at 7:30 and I would have to be out of my house like the latest like 8:20 or 8:10. So that means I have about like 40ish minutes to get ready. So I just wanted to be able to wake up, put my clothes on, go brush my teeth, my hair, grab something to eat real quick, and then head out. Also like a I don't want to say a habit because I did stop doing this after a while, but I was pretty good about it for like the first couple months. The last month I just like the last 2 months I just stopped doing it, but I always made sure that I had like something really quick in the morning. Like I would always take a banana or a bagel. A bagel was something that I usually was making. And then I just kind of stopped because I just forgot to get cream cheese. But um yeah, I would say those are the habits and the routines that helped me the most was just setting up the night before and also making sure I ate something before I went to school.
Yeah, dude. Actually, I'm fully for like getting everything ready the night prior. That way, in the morning, you're just ready to go. I did want to ask about the bagel situation. Did you just find like having breakfast helped you with?
Um, I mean, it just helped me to not be hungry because I'm not gonna lie, the first day of school, like my stomach was growling so loud that the person in front of me literally looked back at me, and I was like, "Whoa, oh, like don't look back at me!" Like I know, like my stomach was being like so loud, so I felt truly embarrassed. So I was like, "No, I can't do this. Like I have to eat something before." And also just if I know I'm going to be there for a long time, there was only like one day where I was there all day, but then towards the end I realized like, oh no, I need to stay at school and do homework. So I definitely needed to pack lunch, so it just helped me to hold me over till I got to lunch. So yeah, that was the reason for it. But also it just kind of, obviously it's like the most important meal of the day, and it just helps to wake me up a little bit more, I think too, and just to have energy.
Okay, epic.
Epic. So, make sure you eat before you go to school or before you go to work, even if it's something small,
Or coffee.
or coffee. I mean, I don't really drink coffee, but
Yeah,
anywho's for our last question though, how has your perspective on college life changed since the beginning of the semester?
got it. Um, so my perspective on it hasn't really changed at all. I think if anything, maybe I see it. If I look down on it before, maybe I look down on it more. But I'm not gonna dive into it. My final answer is just I didn't really have a change in perspective. So yeah. What about you?
I think because there was only one person that I had talked to that went from a JC to, a university or a Cal State. And they told me like, oh well, if you did really well at the JC, then it's gonna be a breeze like transferring in because it's pretty much the same thing. And I don't know why I just like fully listened to that person. So I was very laxed going into my Cal State, and I just wish that I just didn't listen to that person because I think I just had a very different experience And my classes were definitely like a little bit tougher. And also, I think just the fact that you're paying so much more money compared to a JC, that obviously you don't want to retake that class again because that's your time, but especially like that's a lot more money that you're gonna have to pay, you know? So I definitely was more, I guess, on edge on making sure that I did really well in my classes, just more for the reason that I would have to pay a lot more money again. You know what I mean? Compared to at your JC, like if you took it over again, I mean, it's only, well, it's less money is what I'm saying. So, I guess my perspective is that I don't know, I thought it would just be a lot easier when I would go to my Cal State. I was expecting it to be like exactly the same, but it definitely was not exactly the same. So yeah, definitely transitioning was a lot harder for me.
Okay. I do want to say I think we listened to the same person because I was told that basically universities are a lot easier than I guess the JC I was at. And this person, yeah, basically told me like, yeah, once you transfer, it's just gonna be chill. Most of the professors are super cool and they don't care. Just turn it in eventually. And well, I haven't transferred yet, so I've yet to, see it for myself. But based on Bianca's experience, it doesn't sound like it's gonna be that much easier. So I don't know what to look forward. I don't know what to like expect, but I'll definitely be cautious now. Yep.
Well, okay, I think it's also just because I want to get financial aid, and I did get financial aid this semester. So obviously you need to be full time in order to get financial aid. And so I have to constantly take at least 12 units, you know? So that's typically, I'm probably taking like 4 classes, you know? And yeah, I think it just depends also on your major and the classes you're taking, because a lot of classes that I'm taking is kind of like STEM classes, you know? So I think people that are also like in the STEM majors are they're taking some pretty hard classes, so I think that's also something that's a little more difficult that I'm doing because my emphasis is exercise science. So I think that's kind of it's kind of tough what I'm doing, but yeah, so I think it's just the amount of classes and the commitments that I had. So I think you and I probably won't have the same amount of commitments. So it probably will be easier in your experience than me, just because there was commitments that I wasn't willing to necessarily let go.
Hooray. Okay.
Okay, you guys. So that is the end of our questions for the podcast. So now we're going to go into our weekly win. So, Jerry, what is your weekly win?
Well, actually, Bianca, I'd like to ask you, what is your weekly win?
For me, my weekly win is, I guess, like getting back to normal with myself, because I've been doing a lot now. My mindset has changed because, like I said, I was like a little bit sad, but I think I was just like a little overwhelmed, and I was just, I don't know. I think I was just overwhelmed. But yeah, I'm really happy with the amount of work I've been doing around my house, that I'm like completely transforming my room, and I've done so much with my gardening. And I know some people don't really like change, and I'm not really scared to change my room, but it definitely was very what's the word? It was very fast. It just like happened very fast. I can't think of the word that I'm actually thinking of, but it was just like very like on the spot of like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna do this like next week. So I wasn't planning on this for like months and months and months. I had mentioned it, I think in the beginning of the year, that I did want to get a big bed or a new bed, but I didn't know exactly when that time was gonna happen, and then boom, like it happened. And I didn't have a lot of time to really prepare and think. It was just like, okay, like now I just have to act and just do it. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm also happy about my streak on Duolingo, that I'm still doing really well with it, and I'm trying to do even more time with it now since I'm not in school and I'm not taking any summer classes. So I think today is day 30, but by the time this comes out, it should be higher. So basically, like, I've done it for now like over a month.
Shout out learning a second language, dude. Also, was the word you were looking for spontaneous?
Yeah, I think, yeah, probably spontaneous was the word that I was thinking of. Like, it was just very out of nowhere. It was very
Yeah,
sudden, I think.
spontaneous. Got it, got it. Okay, so I guess for me, my weekly win is my free laptop and printer showed up. So me and a friend went to go pick it up, and it's pretty epic that I just got a free laptop and a printer. So I should probably learn how to use those soon. So that's my weekly win.
Okay, right on. That's pretty neat. Can I get one too?
And no,
No. All right. Whatever.
nope.
But okay, now we'll move into appreciation time. So, Jerry, what are you grateful or appreciative that has happened to you this week?
I'm appreciative to all my peeps, all the homies that drive me around places, and we have a good time. Grateful for all the cool people Um, I've met or I've gotten to know more in these recent weeks or days or whatever. So yeah, just overall gratitude to the peeps. Who are you grateful for, Bianca?
Grateful to the peeps. But for me personally, I'll have to probably say both of my parents. We did talk about this in our previous podcast about birthday gifts. And like I said, my parents were so kind to give me a whole new bed frame and mattress and pillows and sheets and, all that stuff. And I had said, do I prefer more thoughtful, like a bunch of thoughtful gifts, or like one big expensive gift? And obviously, this is a very big expensive gift. So I do like both of them. Like, I still obviously very, very much appreciate this big expensive gift. So shout out to both of my parents because they pretty much put most of my bed together, my bed frame, and they took out my mattress and everything. So they set that all up, and I'm so happy and grateful that they did that. They helped me move my dresser, and yeah, they've done so much this weekend. Like, everybody's just been deep cleaning the house and just doing a lot of change and moving around, and yeah, they're just I'm really grateful that I have such great parents.
Shout out your parents, dude. And well, I just want to be that guy real quick. Technically, isn't the gift thoughtful because they knew you needed a new bed? So even though it's expensive, it was technically thoughtful, don't you think?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is thoughtful, but I guess, like, in the question that we asked for the other podcasts, like, do you prefer like a bunch of small, like, thoughtful gifts, or just like one big expensive gift? So, I mean, it is thoughtful. I did bring it up to them in the beginning of the year because I told them, like, oh, I want to buy a bigger bed, and I think I'm going to buy a bigger bed. And yeah, I guess my mom, she beat me to it, and she's like, "No, I'll get you the bigger bed." And I was like, "Okay." So that was my birthday gift.
W.
W. But okay, everybody, that is the end of our podcast. Do you have any final words that you would like to tell everyone, Jerry?
Yes, yes. Well, it's nice to be back. Hopefully, we could start recording more consistently. And some advice to the world: don't always wing it. Goodbye, everybody. Peace.
Don't always wing it. Those are the great words from Jerry. But like I said, I hope you all had a very wonderful week this week, and I hope that you enjoyed the podcast. There is so much change that's happening in my life right now. I feel like I'm going through another big chapter. I just closed, one for my spring semester and my first semester being at my new Cal State. And now my whole room and my backyard looks so different in the inside of my house. There's just so much change that's happening and I love it. And yeah, I can't wait to see what my room will look like after this. I mean, the next time for those who are watching the podcast, it's going to look so different in here and it's going to be a good different, but yeah, this is probably the last time you'll see me in this chair because I do have to get rid of it because it's not going to fit in here, unfortunately. I really wish I could keep it, but it probably will have to go in my garage or something like that. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But I hope you guys have a wonderful night, morning, afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. And I'll talk to you all again soon.